Jake's going to take the chip, man.
Prison system.
Yep.
Yeah, early release. They might say some of them niggas, in the prison system. They might say if you want to get an early release.
And they're going to say, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jake on death row. Look, we got a new program. We're gonna let you off 6 months. 6 months later, we gotta go through this system, this program, and then 6 months later, you go to this program, you get the chip, you be out. So what are they gonna say? They're gonna say, yeah.
That's what the scripture mean by it.
Go ahead, brother.
He calls it all both small and great. You're gonna put.
Not everybody's gonna take it. You're gonna have people that's not gonna take it, man.
Yeah, we're gonna present different scenarios and make it enticing and make it attractive to Jake. And the ones that are allotted to take it, they're gonna take it. Like the Apostle Elder said, not every Jake is gonna take it. Matter of fact, you're gonna have Jakes that's gonna straight out reject it and get killed by a guillotine.
Yeah.
That's it. If you don't mind bringing that up.
Oh yeah.
So it's hey man, it's real, man.
Everyone's scared about the iPhone being able to track your every move. You do know I warned you about this last year. But here's what you should really worry about. And watch. It will unfold like this. First, the RFID chip, radio frequency identification. It's already been put in the Blink credit cards, passports, license tags. They're everywhere. Watch for a full court press to have them implanted in your pets. Not an ID chip, a tracker. They're beta tested, but you'll start to see more of them at your vet's offices. OnStar for your pooch. You can track your little doggy. Peace of mind. Next, if it's good enough for your dog, it's good enough for your child. A tiny little RFID chip the size of a grain of rice. Completely safe. Easy to remove. Your child is now kidnap-proof. And the placement of the chip will be varied, so God forbid some sicko doesn't look at one particular place to forcibly remove it. OnStar for your child. No more Amber Alerts, no more kidnapping, no more parents' worst nightmare. After all, if it's good enough for your pet, it's good enough for your child.
It happens in seconds. Moms and dads, you know that feeling. Your child gets lost in a store, maybe just wanders off for a second or two. Your heart stops, though. Panic sets in, and you think the worst. It's happened to most of us, but what if you had a secret weapon, an extra layer of safety, so to speak? How far would you go to keep your children secure?
Would you be willing to microchip them? Experts tell us the technology already exists. Turns out one Bay Area mother is all for it, and she shared her story with our Melanie Michael.
Hey guys, good evening to you both. Chances are if you have a four-legged family member at home, it's already microchipped. And if the technology exists to save Fido in an emergency, what about microchipping your child? Before you say, no way, I would never do that. Hear one mom's story.
It's the longest 2 seconds of your life, and it's absolute panic.
I want my son back.
We've seen it in movies.
Is that my daughter?
Over and over again, children gone missing.
It's terrifying.
For Stephanie Rodriguez-Neely, life is busier than ever, with 4 children, including a newborn. She knows scary situations can happen in an instant, and for her, it has.
If it'll save my kid, there's no step that's too extreme.
Stephanie's teenage daughter is a special needs child, prone to wander off and trust strangers. For that very reason, Stephanie wholeheartedly welcomes microchipping a child.
If a small chip the size of a grain of rice could have prevented a tragedy, I think most parents, hindsight would have said, I wish I would have done it.
But Stephanie is in the minority in her Tampa Bay moms group, where other mothers call this too sci-fi and invasive.
You're putting a battery in your kid, you're putting a chip in your kid, and where does it stop?
Turns out the technology to microchip your kids has existed since the early 90s, but hasn't really caught on.
Is it a little too science fiction for you?
Very much so.
A well-known technology expert out of Boston tells us microchipping poses little to no health risks and would act as a barcode of sorts.
Without question, it could save a life, reunite a family, find a missing Alzheimer's patient.
I always tell people, as long as you're doing what you feel is best for your child, you're not really wrong.
And guys, this is what we're talking about, the microchip. I don't know if you can see it in my hand. It's the size of a grain of rice, very, very small. And the expert that we spoke with actually tells us that barcodes were introduced in the late 1960s. And back then, people thought, this is way too invasive and too weird. And now barcodes are so commonplace that we don't even think about them anymore. The expert tells us this will happen sooner rather than later.
Instead of carrying around your wallet in your back pocket or your purse, a tech company wants you to carry it under your skin. How's that for convenience? It's yourdaily.com.
Either it's dope or dystopian. A company coming up with some unusual tech, microchip implants that let you pay with your hand. A British-Polish company, Walletmore, is selling these microchips as an alternative for payment. So the chip is about the size of a grain of rice, and it costs about $300, and it does not come inside a credit card. Instead, you gotta implant it into your body, preferably your hand. Once you activate it using a digital wallet app, Walletmore says you'll be able to make purchases at most businesses around the world just by swiping your hand over the card reader. According to Walletmore, almost 200 people already have the implants. The procedure hurts as much as when someone pinches your skin, according to someone who's had the implant injected under his skin back in 2019. Walletmore suggesting a surgeon or one of its trusted specialists for this minor operation. It works immediately after being implanted. No battery required or other power source, apparently. Instead, it uses near-field communication. But if you have buyer's remorse, too bad. Once the implant goes in, there are no refunds.
Oh, my goodness. And so right now, the chips are only being sold to citizens of the UK, Switzerland, and other countries in the European Union. But can you just imagine seeing that at the checkout, Jason? Just walk right up and beep,